Good morning, mathematicians. Here we are at a normal office hour. Welcome. What is a normal office hour, you may wonder? Well, it just means I do even more yapping than usual, and potentially less teaching myself things, and possibly more answering questions from all of you. That's what it means. Welcome. What is a normal office hour? Let's get underway with that. What do we normally do? Well, sometimes I go to Reddit and see what's happening in math news there. Maybe I should start going to Mathstodon and going over math news in Mathstodon. But let's start with Reddit. Genius producing math program lost to UC Berkeley fingerprinting requirements? What? Well, looks like I got a message. Maybe I shouldn't open that on stream. Making math relevant, hurting high school students. John Baez has started posting on his YouTube channel again. It's big hype. Okay, let's go take a look at that. Yeah. Let's go have a look. It's over for me. How can I compete with John Baez? Let's see. Oh, I'm not subscribed? Well, let's change that right now. Neutrinos and gold. Interesting. Oh, 4 hours ago. Standard model. Part 2, the big ideas. Oh, actually, maybe I did see this in my recommendations. I feel like I saw this diagram recently. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, gonna have to check it out then. Is making math relevant hurting high school students? Let's find out. Let me just say I'm not a hardcore pure math person. Just speaking as an American here. Already become increasingly annoyed at how schools below the university level talk about math lately. There's always a push to make it relevant or connected to real life. Yeah, that seems like a pretty natural thing to do. That approach feels wrong. I don't know. I disagree. I agree that math has value on its own. And I mean, for instance, like I do when I'm in the classroom in any capacity, I do like to try and convey my love for mathematics itself. And I think that's good to do. And I think that not enough people understand that mathematicians like math just for math's sake, and it's good to communicate that. However, I think it's also probably true that most people have a hard time caring about math, and you need to care at least a little bit in order to, oh, we're already in live chat, okay. In order to carry you through the course. Probably for most people, it's an effective strategy to help them care about it, connecting it to the real world. This OP would lose their mind if they see how people treat literature classes. How do people treat literature classes? It's a subject worth studying for its own logic, structure patterns. You don't need to justify it by tying it to something else. Trying to make it useful devalues what makes math unique. I don't disagree with that. Math teachers are trained to teach math. Science teachers are trained to teach science. Blah, blah, blah. Forcing math to serve another subject waters it down. Okay. 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 So a moment ago you're saying, I'm not a hardcore math person who thinks applied math is ugly. And then several paragraphs later, yeah, but if you try to apply it, that waters down the beauty of math. Okay. Have you never seen the curtain was just blue meme? You just can't get kids to like everything, and most kids are dull as bricks. Yeah. I suppose that's true. Because I was thinking, as I was talking about, most people like need applications in order to care about things. They need some connection to the real world. I was also thinking at the same time, I'm like, but actually maybe kids are just saying that. The truth is they just don't give a shit. I didn't give a shit, I mean, that's not entirely true. I was learning about math. I was learning about calculus in high school, but I definitely didn't give a shit about what we were learning in the classroom. That was boring to me. I was like, who cares about these damn triangles? Like, who cares? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I still think it serves the right message though. Like, we need to understand, us as pure mathematicians, we're the weirdos. We're the freaks here. We're the ones with a not normal brain. Yeah. Yeah, and major agree with this. The math classroom should not be a place where the subject has to justify itself. Okay, then where is the subject going to justify itself? And what does that even mean? What, you gonna make it illegal for the kids to ask questions? Like, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know. Bad take. Overall, my take is that that's a bad take. Genius producing math program lost. Oh, they lost competition, or the program is lost? Oh, let's go read the article. Check the math world. Seek advice what to do. Wow, so many damn ads on here. After 27 years, BMC has shut down its flagship program, BMC Upper, due to stringent new campus background check requirements. Okay. What does that mean exactly? You always found the whole cosmos and pop physics stuff boring? Really? That's what got me into math. Really? How would you find that boring? That's crazy to me. Because, I mean, the whole reason I got interested in math is because I read all those pop math books, and I was like, that is cool as hell. That is interesting AF. I want to learn more. And then I realized at some point that I was like, oh, What I'm missing from my understanding in all of this is the math. And that's when I started teaching myself calculus. Because my professor, to be fair, my teacher at the time, I was, bombing his class. So he had no reason to think I had any brains in my head. And I remember I brought him, because I remember I was looking at the equations of general relativity. I remember on the Wikipedia article, it explained all the variables, but it didn't explain the d. Of course, this is d for a differential element. And I was like, that's so weird. And I remember trying to solve this equation purely algebraic. I didn't realize it was a calculus equation, right? I didn't know. And I went to him and I was like, can you explain this to me? And he's like, no, you need to learn calculus first. And I got mad at him and I was like, I don't get, why can't you just explain it to me? You're telling me I need to learn calculus first. So I was like, fuck you, man. I'm going to go teach myself calculus. And then I did. So, when I turn on monetization afterwards, I do check a box that says I don't swear, I think. But no one's called me on it yet. Please don't message the YouTube, please. Hello, Noel. And Paul Maurice. Good morning to you both. Founded, blah, blah, blah. It's better. It's a great program. However, in exchange for using classrooms on campus, UC Berkeley has required BMC to conduct regular background checks for nearly a decade as part of a 2016 contract. Okay. Requires checks for regular volunteers. There's a bill for volunteers. I see. Whom the bill defines as individuals who work with minors. Okay. I mean, that seems like a pretty reasonable thing, TBH. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, Mom. Thanks for stopping by. Lots of love. However, campus mandates fingerprinting through a hideous process. Okay. Even if an adult's interactions with minors amount to less time than that. Okay, are you gonna explain the hideous here? Oh, hello from Argentina. You also got interested from math from physics, yeah. Started as a physics student. Yeah, I kind of thought I was going to be a physics student as well. Even when, because by the time I got to university, I was I was learning math for physics. But then I ended up getting interested in math on its own on the way. And I didn't want to do the boring labs in physics. How far away does my mom live? Let's see. It's like a 12-hour drive at roughly 100 kilometers an hour. So 1,200 kilometers away? Is that right? I thought it was closer to 2K, but I guess it's about that. Yeah, Baez has worked on octonions, which you believe are used for some BSM models. I don't know what BSM models are. What is this? We're reading some article about some math program getting shut down. This is the most confusing article title. Yeah, the title itself is confusing. Can you ELI 5 what you should be mad about? I have no idea. Yes, my mom is my mom's in the same country. Yeah, I don't know what I guess we're supposed to be mad. We're supposed to be mad about this math program shutting down. But it's still not clear to me why exactly it shut down. 1336. Wow. Mom coming in with the precise numbers. Maybe I got some of my math genes from her after all. Do I have a favorite physics topic? I don't know. I mean, I don't do a ton of physics now. I would love to learn more. I've quite far. Well, by Canadian distances, by Canadian standards, I mean she's practically next door to me. We're a big country after all. And I visit her frequently. Yeah, favorite physics topics. I've read up a little bit before. Of course, I do representation theory, so I'm interested in the connection between representation theory and particle physics, and you can there's like a way to view elementary particles as irreducible representations of the Poincare group. So that seems cool. General relativity, I've done a little bit of. I don't have a very deep understanding of, but geometry seems cool to me. Yeah, those seem cool. I did also take a course in particle physics my last year at university, and that was cool. I should run a kilometer away to be cool in the hacksaw scene. Boris, I have no idea what you're talking about. 1337 or 1335? I have no idea what those are. Have I done representation theory of Poincare group and Lorentz group on this channel? No. Maybe that's something to do. Maybe that's something to think about. But I don't know. I feel like it would take me a bit of work to explain that properly. Well, mind you, I could do the Boris, what are you making me Google? You gonna have is the Canadian Secret Service gonna be coming after me? Leet speak, hacker speech. System of modified spelling. Oh, skill or accomplishment. Okay. You would start with the Galilean group. The Galilean group, like SO4 or SO3 or SO. No. Yeah, what's the Galilean group? O3 or something? But yeah, maybe that's something to think about. I could start looking into the representation theory and at least just start there and then give myself some time to build up the physics and connect it to physics later. Yeah, I do have some other plans for other videos first. Translation. So that semi-direct product. So what, O3 semi-direct R3 or something? Its second cohomology ring generator gives you a definition of mass? Wait, what second cohomology? Second cohomology? Get out of NLab, yeah. Wait, what? What? Second cohomology of what group, Boris? What? Tell me more. Have I read Schultz's work? No, sort of. I've looked at some of it. Definitely his paper on local Langlands for GLN. Didn't understand everything, but yeah. In classical and quantum, mass has a cohomological significance because it parameterizes central extensions of the Galilean group. What? Yeah, let's go find an actual article on it. Cohomology. Oh, representation theory of Galilean group? Yeah, it's interesting, as you say, Paul Maurice, is the non-relativistic version. So one should expect then that if you looked at the Poincaré group, the second cohomology should tell you something there too. Second cohomology, Galilean group. Mass is more like a central charge. Well, I don't see why being a central charge doesn't mean you could represent. Whoa, Galilean group. Why does that look like magic cards? Was another streamer? Galilean group cohomology and classical mechanics. Okay. Boris, where are you reading about this? What's this guy's video? He's saying, "Good morning, physicist." Wow, he's got breakfast. I gotta up my game. This guy just reading papers? Galilei group and Galilean invariance. Okay. Wow, he's just like me. Personally, you've always found magnetism so mysterious. It does not sound cool, but you do not know. You just find it mysterious. Yeah. Well, there's something to be said for just reading, or appreciating the profundity of more basic things like, Angela Collier, her YouTube channel is great. I'm a fan. I'm subbed. And to her alt channel. But also, she has some videos where she just talks about, because everyone, always wants to be talking about, like, the hottest development and so asking her opinion on this breakthrough and that breakthrough. And she has, I think, maybe 2 videos, which is just like, hey, let's actually talk about, there's just these more, like, simple things, but they're actually really important, and they're actually really cool. So, yeah. Oh, you're making stuff up from vague memories. Well, your vague memories are somewhat correct. He's first recognized transformation. I don't see anything about cohomology yet. A super Galilei group has been defined in relation to non-relativistic cosmology. Let's try one more time to find something about it. Oh, Rod, you already subbed to that guy? Nice. I may have to go watch his video. Let's see. Okay, he's diving into what? Foundations of quantum theory. I saw some NLab stuff. Or sorry, no. I meant Stack Exchange. Oh, okay, that's rep theory, the Heisenberg group. Maybe I should have get this guy to jump on and explain. Is he still active, I wonder? 4 years ago. No, looks like 2 weeks ago. Okay. Maybe I could have this guy on as a guest to explain cohomology in physics to me. Nice. Yeah, she's great. Angela's got great content out there. Magnetism is just the other side of electricity. Yeah, true. You think the best way to motivate magnetism is from relativity? Not sure if there's a purely mathematical reasoning. So, I feel like it's the other way around. One motivates, right? So I gave a talk once in just the local grad seminar here about how to derive E = mc squared from just basic high school arithmetic and the postulates of relativity. And there's like one tiny part of the argument where you need a little bit of calculus. And what was I going to say? Yeah, and so, the way I do it is basically write down, because historically, right, like first we found the equations of electromagnetism. So you write down the equations and you say, well, look, there's this constant, there's these constants, the permeability and permittivity of free space, and you multiply them together in a certain way, and you say, hey, look, there's a constant whose units are the units of velocity. So what does that mean? In my mind, that's the natural starting point. Motivate magnetism from quadratic reciprocity. That could be tough. Cohomology in physics is existence of different types of particles, like Betty numbers. Tells you about different types of particles. Paul, where do I read more about that, Paul Maurice? I would love to read more about that. Okay, I do want to see what's going on in this article. A petition asking campus to revisit fingerprinting requirements was signed. Okay, what's still confusing to me at this point in the article, string theory books in general. Okay. What's still confusing to me at this point in the article is why this requirement caused the program to shut down. Like, just go get your background checks. This seems like a reasonable thing. You should have background checks to work with kids. I don't know. Weird. When asked why campus chose to implement these fingerprinting requirements, the requirements go beyond minimal standards with good reason. Yeah. In response to the pro bono lawyer, said, although staff did do research, there was no written record of research to share. Campus requires California residents seeking electronic fingerprinting to go through the company biometrics for all. However, the appointment booking was clunky and done automatically. Some people found that the fingerprinting location was closed. Okay. I mean, that sounds annoying, but like, is sort of seems more so far from the limited information I have from this article. It sort of seems more that like the people who are participating in this math club were minorly inconvenienced, and therefore decided to can the whole thing. Candidates outside California will not use live scan specifically, but instead paper-based in their state. Volunteer drove hours from upstate New York to go through ink fingerprinting at the New York City Police Department. Okay, I mean that is maybe prohibitive. We're talking at once it comes to the order of driving hours. I could see how that would maybe be an extra issue. You remember when you had to do background check to work with minors? Well, you were still a minor. The administration didn't know there was no rule saying teachers couldn't be minors. Interesting. You're late. We're reading some article about a math club shutting down. Oh, good. Don't know what this is out there. Good. Yeah. Okay. Then these ink fingerprints must be mailed to Department of Justice. Shredded fingerprints were returned to the original sender with no additional feedback. Okay. Only one out-of-state individual successfully fingerprinted. Processing took over 5 weeks. Okay. I guess I'm also confused. What's going on in this program? Like, is it integral that this program is like constantly having out of town speakers, or what's going on? In addition, campus required adult to minor ratio in each class, both in person and online, to reach certain levels for each age group. That's maybe a little weird. Guest lectures with adequate ratio. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe some of this is a little crazy for having like guest speakers come in and do this. That doesn't make a ton of sense, but it's still not clear to me why the whole thing had to just fully shut down. Do I have any recommendations for sources on category theory in the context of Riemannian geometry? I do not. Sorry, I don't have any recommendations for the specific interaction of those things. You were looking at Schultz's works once, and he was trying to do a tau cohomology on some rigid analytic varieties. Have I heard of rigid varieties? I've heard of them. I know that this is like one approach. It's like that and Berkovich spaces are like two ways to think about, I think, like these varieties where you also have some sort of p-adic analytic topology. I mean, that's my rough understanding. You would just like a book too? There's category theory in Riemannian geometry. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how those things are related. I mean, there's like light stuff, probably covering spaces, and holonomy, right, has functorial properties. You know, that's true. But Math circles, background checks are not as strict at Berkeley, or guest speakers are not required to do fingerprinting. Yeah. Must comply with campus policies. Splash at Berkeley. Classes taught by Berkeley. Background checks. but does not fingerprint them, as campus policy does not require blah, blah, blah. I feel like I could, this is good advertising. I feel like I would buy these things. I should up my style to this level. Maybe when I get that sweet postdoc money, hey? You doubt there's much category theory in the actual meat of Riemannian geometry. Yeah, I doubt that as well. You should know because you're in lab build and suffering through a Riemannian geometry course right now. Nice. Yeah, good pun, Boris. All that said, you don't see why fingerprinting helps with security much. Yeah, well, but I think it's not just fingerprinting. It's about a background check in general. I think doing background checks, if you got to work with minors, is not an unreasonable thing. But yeah, certainly for the guests coming in, yeah, having the guests that are flying in had to have them do fingerprinting is like, yeah. On the topic of book recommendations, anyone have some online book recommendations for Introduction to Geometric Calculus? I do not, but I'm sure someone in chat can say something. The Big Red Dog. There are some nice results in statistics which show the uniqueness of certain Riemannian metrics on categories of probability densities. What? Categories of probability densities? There's a category of probability densities? What does it mean to have a metric on a category? What? Huh? What are you talking about? Let's see, do we have a abstract or something we can read? Let's see. In his book, studies statistical models from an unconventional category theoretic and geometric perspective. What the hell? I mean, we did see back in the spring there was an office hour where someone mentioned you know, a cohomology application. There's some sheaf cohomology connected to statistics or something. Hello, Castakori. Metric on a category of probability distributions. Everything is a set in some universe, so you can have a metric on a category. Sure, true, I guess. Expanded your job possibilities. Some sort of category with Grothendieck topology plus some smooth structure. Yeah, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Everything's a set sounds sus. I believe it. Or everything's a type. One of those two things. Why aren't I using a browser that inherently blocks advertisements like Brave? Actually, I do have Brave. You can see actually I've got Brave down there. Yeah, maybe I should be doing this all on Brave. I guess I just go to Google because my Google, I'm logged in to my YouTube through there. So I go there to like at the beginning of stream to start chat. But yeah, maybe I should be doing all of this through Brave. Yeah, there's no reason why the rest of this stuff has to be in Chrome. One of the central problems here is to determine invariance of figures, real valued functions which assume equal values on figures and construct complete system of invariance. The objects as category figures. Huh. I don't know. That was crazy stuff. Melanie Wood had a paper recently categorifying moment problem of distributions to distributions of objects in a category. What? Melanie Wood moment problem archive. This is wild stuff. The moment problem in probability asks for criteria for when there exists a unique measure with a given tuple of moments. We study a variant of this problem for random objects in a category where a moment is given by the average number of epimorphisms to a fixed object. This seems familiar. Leo, did you bring this up before? Something about this seems familiar. When moments do not grow too fast, we give a necessary and sufficient condition for existence of a distribution. Show that a unique measure exists. Interesting. Well, and a condition that gives an analog of the second isomorphism theorem. What the hell? Including categories of finite groups, finite modules, finite rings, and many variations of these categories. This is motivated by the non-abelian Cohen-Lenstra-Martinet program in number theory, which aims to calculate the distribution of random profinite groups arising as Galois groups of maximal unramified extensions of number fields. What? This is crazy. Maybe this isn't familiar. Whoa, and we got H3 showing up. This is crazy. If your PC ends up with a link to category theory and statistics, you're throwing it out in the window. What is y'all's opinion on the principle of equivalence page on NLab? Well, let's go there in a second. Here, principle of equivalence. Principle of equivalence. NLab. Let's finish this article. Though. I want to get to the end of this article. Terry Tao wrote a letter asking for flexibility. How could you turn down my man, Dr. Tao? Wrote an email. It's intended for exceptional students. Their needs cannot and will not be served by several local instructors. Right? Wow, what a dunk on the local instructors, eh? Strictly developed, and they do not depend on guest speakers. Okay. This will remain closed, according to the website program, in negotiations with sustainable agreement. I don't know. That's crazy. I mean, if this is some sort of strike, I guess. I don't know. But I feel like you're just hurting the kids. Like, just find a way to rearrange your program. I mean, these rules kind of suck, but yeah. Okay, chat's really popping off here. Categorification is not that weird. Yeah. True. Along with hot, but that's just fundamentally explores sameness, so it doesn't count. You're thinking about categorification of pi? There's apparently no natural category with groupoid cardinality pi. What? What does that even mean? Compare that to E, which is very naturally occurring. What? Boris, I don't know what you're talking about. How could you have groupoid cardinality E? How long could an article about fingerprinting possibly be, and how much they have to say? Yeah, not much. I mean, we haven't derived a lot of content from everything that we've looked at so far. Yeah, I've got the same question, Locke. What do I think of math competitions? I did not do that. Well, I participated in the Putnam a couple times, and I did terribly. What do I think of them? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. People are always like, oh, yeah, real math isn't like the math in competitions, which, like, true. But obviously, a lot of people who did amazing things, a lot of people who did amazing things had gold medals in IMO. So clearly it's some way that, it is some pipeline of getting kids into math. So I don't know. It's probably a net good. You thought one of the big issues with fingerprinting was that they weren't going through the traditional channels, but instead a private company? Maybe, I guess. Almost all categorification is upgrading integer invariants into vector spaces. Groupoid cardinality of finset with bijections is E? What? What? What does that mean? Oh, I see. It's got some weirdo definition here. Okay. Maybe we'll look at that later. I want to finish this article and end stream. In lab, groupoid cardinality equals sum. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I see. Thanks, Mitchell. Very interesting. Very interesting. Couldn't you could say that for any category, though, right? You could define this weird cardinality for any category. Clearly, there must be a reasonable interpretation of this in terms of other things, right? Like, why do we define it that way? It shows up in counting problems in number theory because it accounts multiplicity. There's so much interesting stuff to learn in this world. The biggest lesson you've learned in mathing is to never see NLab first. It's almost non-sustainable anymore. I don't know. Is it though? Is the campus really? Is it really on the campus here? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so my takeaway is, yeah, the campus is being silly. 100% the campus is being very silly. But, the campus is being very silly. But maybe the people are too. Destroying the program in its entirety kind of seems like the nuclear option here. Baez has an info dump on his webpage somewhere. Okay. You remember introducing a page on NLab on Kazama Suzuki cosets? You'd guess they wouldn't just give up a whole organization because feeling kind of lazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I guess administrative bloat is an issue, and I definitely have hated it when I've encountered it in my own life. For example, I have this mentorship program I started here. Hello, Prabantam. I don't know if I said that right. But good morning or good time of day wherever you are. Yeah, for example, the mentorship program I've been running that I started here, part of why I didn't go through any official channels is I didn't want to have to deal with any dumb bureaucratic bullshit, So, having worked in these kinds of things is insane, the amount of stuff you have to wade through. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It could be. I don't feel like this article gave a very good sense, though, to me of why this program had to totally be completely nuked. But who knows? I'm not there. I'm not there. Everyone who's not me is a very, very silly goose. So I think that's what's really going on here. We have an NLab author among us. Paul Maurice. Paul Maurice, you introduced the page on Kazama Suzuki. I see. I misunderstood what you were saying there. Wow. He does have a YouTube channel. Yeah. I seem smart. What happened to me? Wait, what? I don't understand the question. I see. What happened to me? I'm not sure I understand the question, but I'm glad that I seem smart. But I might have to answer your question tomorrow, because I am gonna go. I gotta take off before I get roasted more by chat. It's time to do some work, yo. Time to do some research. Okay, I'll see y'all tomorrow.